For over 170 years, Cartier has been synonymous with luxury and elegance in the world of jewelry. The story of how this iconic brand became a global powerhouse is one of determination, innovation, and creativity. Most major fashion and jewelry design houses didn't begin as large as multinational operations. As a matter of fact, only a small percentage of them did. This is the story of Cartier. Everything started in the early 19th century with the birth of Louis-François Cartier. He was born in Paris in 1819. As a young man, Louis-François became an apprentice of master watchmaker Adolphe Picard. For many years, he worked in Adolphe's small store on Rue Montorgueil. Through this, he gained a lot of experience. In 1847, when he was 28 years old, Louis-François bought the store and took over the business. Although money was tight, Louis-François bought what he could afford, focusing only on the finest jewelry. As the business slowly started to grow over the following few decades, his son Alfred prepared to take the helm. Alfred was far more business-oriented than his father. Louis-François always had in his mind to take his former boss's business to the next level. But little did he know that the business's growth would be accelerated by the most unlikely situations. The year was 1870, and Paris was about to undergo a significant transformation. Over the previous 100 years, France had transformed into a nation of revolutions, and 1870 saw the arrival of yet another uprising in the capital of the country, the Paris Commune. The Commune was a socialist revolution against the aristocracy. Out of fear for their lives, the elite looked for a way out, but was unable to access their wealth because bank access was restricted. Because of this, they were forced to turn to whatever assets they had on hand. By 1871, the future success of the Cartier company was appearing assured. Over the next 20 years, Cartier became the preferred brand for the European elite. However, as success grew, so did the need to find larger premises. By the time of the 20th century, Paris was coming alive, but this also meant that competition was getting fierce. Alfred recognized this and set out to increase the overall popularity of the brand and made it more appealing as compared to the rest of its competitors. They moved the business to Rue de la Paix. Alfred had three sons, Louis, Pierre, and Jacques. Louis was born in 1875, Pierre was born in 1878, and Jacques in 1884. All three of them later on joined the business, and the company was rebranded with this name, Alfred Cartier & Fils, in 1989. Though Louis-François had been the source of providing jewelry to the French aristocrats for many years, Alfred wasn't pleased with the business's current status. He wanted it to become an internationally recognized brand. After Louis-François' unfortunate death in 1904, Alfred decided to expand the reach and impact of the Cartier brand outside of Paris in order to support the global expansion, since he was dissatisfied with the company's current situation and had always dreamt of building an international economic empire. The three grandsons of Louis-François Cartier decided to separate in an ambitious and strategic move. In 1900, Pierre started a store on Fifth Avenue after being sent to New York. Louis, the oldest, remained in Paris, the geographical center of the Maison, while the youngest, Jacques, was sent to London, where the firm first opened on New Burlington Street in 1902 before moving to New Bond Street. Their bold decision turned out to be a good one, and over the following few years, the three brothers divided and conquered. The three men were quite close to one another, and each brother's personality would ultimately be crucial to the success of Cartier. Young Jacques was outgoing and knew the value of fostering relationships with customers. Despite the fact that all three of the brothers were successful, Louis was undoubtedly the driving force. His insistence on perfection was a big asset for the business. If he didn't think a piece was up to par, it never saw the light of day. Pierre was the business-minded brother, who was known for his astute salesmanship and saw great potential in the booming economy of New York. The Morgans, King Edward VII, King Zog of Albania, and King Chulalongkorn of Siam were all in awe of Cartier's jewelry. Following the more imaginative jewelry, Louis announced that we must build up an inventory that responds to the mood of the public by producing items that have a practical function, but are also decorated in the Cartier style. During the following 40 years, Cartier produced some of the best pieces the world had ever seen, such as the now famous Tutti Frutti necklaces, bracelets, and all sorts of other fancy goods in platinum, silver, and gold. Bejeweled cigarette cases, monogrammed tin openers, and gold yo-yos were all available for purchase. Then came the product, the Trinity ring. It is a simple yet stunning cult favorite that is composed of 3 bands of gray, yellow, and pink gold that are joined in a locked embrace to symbolize fidelity, friendship, and love. Despite being almost a century old, it is reminiscent of one of Cartier's most iconic pieces. Designed by Louis in 1924 at the request of the French artist Jean Quito, it was a truly daring innovation for its time given the Art Deco era's prevailing aesthetic. You might not be able to tell from the way it looks in the ring, though. The Trinity ring, which is still a staple of the Cartier jewelry collection today, took great courage to design because Cartier was known for its colorful and exotic creations. Famous wearers of the ring include Nicole Kidman, Princess Diana, and John Kidao. After World War II, Cartier continued to expand globally, but sadly Pierre was now managing the company alone as Louis and Jacques had passed away in 1942 at the ages of just 67 and 58. Pierre had to continue the legacy of his father and brothers. Every company needs a spirit animal, and it appears that Cartier has 2, the panther and the leopard. The leopard was originally utilized in 1914 on a wristwatch, with a black and white gem placed to mimic the exquisite feline's fur. But it wasn't until Jean Toussaint's arrival that the panther came to life. Jeanne was the director of Cartier's fine jewelry and was the company's creative force. She collaborated closely with Louis and left her mark with her feminine elegance and free-spirited personality. She was given the nickname the Panther because their skins decorated her apartment, and she admired everything the elegant feline resembled. Leopards peered through store windows and prowled the streets in Cartier advertisements, and the overall motive of the brand was incorporated into many designs, including vanity boxes, cigarette cases, bracelets, necklaces, and brooches. After running the business for more than 20 years without his brothers, Pierre passed away in 1964. The original Cartier was left with just 4 stores in Hong Kong, Geneva, Munich, and Paris after his death. Although the Cartier brand was still the leading name in jewelry and watches, it was no longer connected to the family. However, in 1972, World War II French resistance hero Robert Hawke reunified the Cartier stores. The stores in London and New York were no longer a part of the main group. Robert Hawke set out to promote the union of all Cartier stores. Robert served as the chairman of Cartier Monde after he started purchasing all of the various Cartier branches. While the company was no longer run by the original Cartier family, it was at least once again whole. Once again, inspiration struck in 1973 with the introduction of the Les Mousses de Cartier, You Must Buy a Cartier, which democratized the ultra-luxury associated with the brand. Unfortunately, Robert never got to witness the massive expansion that followed because he was tragically struck by a car accident near his office in Paris when he was 60 years old. For the following few years, his daughter Natalie Hawke served as Cartier's president. Today, Cartier is renowned for its groundbreaking design, exceptional gems, and exquisite craftsmanship. From its modest beginnings in 1847, Cartier has grown into a multinational luxury goods company with nearly 300 boutiques around the world. Since joining the Richemont Group in 1988, the brand has been fully integrated into the well-oiled money-making machine, and many of its pieces are regarded as true collector's items. Since its founding, Cartier has accomplished something that few other brands have, being synonymous with luxury and elegance for more than 175 years. The iconic Tutti Frutti pieces are regarded as icons of the Art Deco era, with one jewel being sold at a 2020 auction for $1.3 million. The jewel had never before appeared at auction. While the House of Cartier is not in the same position as before, the Richemont Group is making sure to keep the brand's name true to its motto. So that's it for today's video. We hope that you would have liked it. If there is anything you would like to add in it, then make sure to comment it down below.